The crowd leaned in closer. They weren't used to seeing him like this. He wasn't making bold statements or gesturing grandly. He wasn't addressing the cameras or the public. In this moment, it was just him and her asterisk. Mary could feel her heart pounding. She had told her story before, to other homeless people, to occasional passers-by, but she had never expected to tell it to someone like him. She studied his face, trying to understand why he was still here, why he hadn't just handed her the money and walked away. Before she could ask, Trump stood up suddenly. The movement startled some in the crowd. A few people whispered, "Was this it? Was he about to leave?" But then he did something that no one expected. He turned to one of the men standing a few feet behind him, one of his security team or an aide, perhaps. There was a brief exchange of words, too quiet for the crowd to hear. The man nodded and quickly stepped away, disappearing into the sea of people. Mary frowned, confused. What was happening? Trump turned back to her. "Are you hungry?" The question caught her off guard. Of course, she was hungry. She was always hungry. But it wasn't just the question that surprised her. It was the way he asked it, like he actually cared about the answer. She nodded slowly. Without another word, Trump gestured for her to stand. A murmur spread through the crowd again. Mary hesitated. Was this real? Was she dreaming? It felt surreal, like a moment she had once imagined, but never truly believed would happen. But then, she stood up, She wasn't sure why she did it. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was the quiet pull of something bigger happening. Maybe it was just the simple fact that, for the first time in a long time, someone was treating her like she mattered. Trump turned and began walking, and hesitantly, uncertainly, Mary followed. The crowd parted as they moved, stunned onlookers watching the unlikely pair disappear down the street. People continued filming, their voices filled with speculation. What was happening? Where were they going? What was Trump about to do? But no one knew. And Mary herself had no idea that in just a few minutes, her entire life was about to change. As Mary followed Trump down the street, she felt the weight of 100 eyes on her. People whispered, some still recording, others just frozen in disbelief. A few onlookers trailed behind at a distance, curious but cautious. This wasn't something they saw every day. A billionaire, a former president, walking side by side with a homeless woman as if they had known each other forever. Mary's heart pounded in her chest. Her mind raced with questions. Why was he doing this? What did he want? Was this just for show? Was she about to be the center of some public stunt, only to be forgotten the moment the cameras stopped rolling? She stole a glance at him. His face was unreadable, his gaze fixed ahead, walking with purpose. There was no sign of hesitation, no theatrics. Whatever this was, he was serious about it. Within minutes, they reached a small cafe on the corner. The scent of fresh coffee and warm bread filled the air, a painful reminder of how long it had been since she had a proper meal. Trump stepped inside first, the staff immediately straightening up in recognition. A man behind the counter blinked in shock, but quickly put on a polite smile. "Mr. Trump," he greeted, his voice slightly nervous. "What can we do for you?" Trump turned slightly, gesturing toward Mary. "She'll have whatever she wants," he said simply. Then, as if it was the most natural thing in the world, he added, "And make sure it's on me." Mary's throat tightened. She felt a mix of emotions: gratitude, confusion, even a hint of embarrassment. She wasn't used to this. She had begged for food before, taken whatever scraps people were willing to give, but never had anyone asked her what she actually wanted. She hesitated, unsure of what to say. The man behind the counter gave her an encouraging nod. "Go ahead," he said gently. "It's all right." Her eyes darted to the display case, filled with sandwiches and pastries. She hadn't had a real meal in days. Swallowing hard, she finally pointed to a turkey sandwich. "That," she said quietly, "and maybe a coffee." "Make it two," Trump added, pulling out a chair for her. She hesitated before sitting, still trying to make sense of what was happening. As the cafe bustled around them, the reality of the moment settled in. People were still watching from outside, pressing against the windows, their phones recording. But inside, at this small table, it was just the two of them. For the first time, Trump leaned forward, his elbows resting on the table. "Tell me your story," he said. Mary hesitated. It had been a long time since anyone had asked her that and actually wanted to hear the answer. It was an ordinary day on the busy streets of New York City. People rushed past without a second glance, their minds occupied with the demands of their own lives. But amidst the sea of hurried footsteps and distant conversations, a homeless woman sat quietly on the sidewalk, wrapped in a tattered coat that barely shielded her from the cold. Her face, marked by hardship, held a quiet resilience, though life had not been kind to her. A small cardboard sign rested in front of her, the words scribbled in shaky handwriting. Asterisk asterisk veteran. Hungry. Anything helps. Asterisk asterisk. She had been sitting in that spot for hours, her gaze fixed on the pavement, hoping someone, anyone, would stop. But the world kept moving. Then something unexpected happened. The steady hum of traffic and chatter was interrupted by the sound of approaching footsteps, different from the rest. Slow, deliberate, and accompanied by a hushed murmur spreading through the crowd. She lifted her head just in time to see a tall figure stopping in front of her. It was asterisk asterisk Donald Trump asterisk asterisk. Dressed in his signature suit and overcoat, the former president's presence was impossible to ignore. People nearby started whispering, pulling out their phones, unsure of what they were about to witness. Some assumed he would simply walk past. After all, politicians and billionaires weren't known for stopping to acknowledge those who lived on the streets. But Trump didn't move on. Instead, he did something no one expected. For a moment, there was silence. The woman blinked up at him, uncertain. Trump looked down, his expression unreadable. The air grew thick with anticipation. What was he about to do? Was this a publicity stunt, a grand gesture, or something else entirely? Then, without hesitation, he reached into his coat pocket. The crowd edged closer, eyes wide, cameras rolling. The homeless woman, still frozen in place, couldn't believe what was happening. Whatever she had expected that day, asterisk asterisk, this wasn't it asterisk asterisk. And then, in the next few seconds, something happened that would leave everyone, bystanders, viewers, even the woman herself, asterisk asterisk completely speechless asterisk asterisk. The street was eerily quiet, despite the bustling city around them. Every eye was on Trump as he stood before the homeless woman, his hand still reaching into his coat pocket. The woman's fingers tightened around the edges of her thin coat, unsure of what was happening. She had seen people pause before, some offering spare change, others giving nothing more than a glance. But this was different. The air felt charged, as if something significant was about to unfold. The murmurs in the crowd grew louder. Some whispered theories, others merely watched in stunned silence. A few people held up their phones, eager to capture the moment. Was this an act of generosity, a political statement, or something else entirely? Trump finally pulled his hand out, revealing a neatly folded bill. The woman's eyes widened as she stared at it. A $20 bill, 50. No, asterisk asterisk, it was more than that asterisk asterisk. The onlookers craned their necks, trying to get a better look. The woman hesitated, unsure whether to reach for it. People had given her money before, but never like this. Never in such a public way, never from someone as well known as asterisk asterisk Kim asterisk asterisk. But then, just as she thought she understood what was happening, Trump did something that sent another ripple through the crowd. Instead of handing her the money, he crouched down to her level. It was a simple action, yet it carried weight. The towering presence of a billionaire, a former president, now kneeling on the sidewalk in front of a woman that most people had ignored. The tension thickened. The woman swallowed hard, her throat dry. She could feel the gazes of the crowd burning into her. But Trump's eyes never left hers. "What's your name?" he asked, his voice lower than she expected. It wasn't the commanding tone from rallies or interviews. It was softer, almost personal. She hesitated, gripping her coat tighter. "Mary," she finally answered, her voice barely above a whisper. Trump gave a small nod, as if considering her name carefully. "How long have you been out here?" Mary exhaled, glancing down at her worn-out boots. "Too long," she murmured. "Years." The weight of her answer seemed to settle over him. For a moment, there was no reaction, no immediate response. It was as if he was processing something. The watching crowd was restless now. This was more than a random act of charity. Asterisk, asterisk, something was unfolding here. And no one knew what it was yet. Asterisk, asterisk. Mary shifted uncomfortably. She had been approached by well-dressed strangers before, some offering a few dollars, others giving speeches about shelters and programs. But none had ever spoken to her like this. None had ever looked at her as though she was more than just another face on the street. Then Trump spoke again. "You said you're a veteran?" Mary nodded. "Served in the army." Lisa sat next to him, exhausted but relieved. "It's over." Marcus exhaled slowly. "Not for everyone." She followed his gaze to the screen. Protesters had gathered outside the police station, demanding change. This wasn't just about one case, it was about a system that let it happen. Bennett leaned against the doorway. "You did the right thing," he said. Marcus nodded. "So did you." Bennett gave a small smile. "Guess I'll be looking for a new job soon." Lisa chuckled. "You'll be fine." Marcus felt the weight lift off his chest. The truth had won. But deep down, he knew this was just one battle in a much bigger fight. Mary's pulse raced. The past and the present were colliding in ways she never could have expected. Here she was, sitting across from one of the most powerful men in the world, being handed a second chance. And standing in front of her was someone from her past, offering the same thing, but with the added weight of asterisk, asterisk, everything that had been lost, asterisk, asterisk. The cafe was silent except for the faint sounds of cameras flashing outside. Everyone was waiting to see what she would do. Mary took a slow, steady breath. She had spent so long letting life decide for her. But this time, she had the power. And for the first time in years, she wasn't afraid to use it. Mary sat in silence for a moment, feeling the weight of everything pressing down on her. The noise outside, the flashing cameras, the unexpected reunion, it all felt like too much. But as she looked at James, then back at Trump, she realized something. For the first time in a long time, she had asterisk, asterisk, options, asterisk, asterisk. She wasn't trapped. She wasn't powerless. Slowly, she reached for the folder in front of her and ran her fingers over the edges. Everything she had wanted, stability, dignity, a chance to start over, was inside. And now the choice was hers. She looked at James. "If I walk out of here with you, is this real?" His eyes softened. "Yes," he said, "it's real, and I won't disappear this time." She searched his face, looking for any sign of doubt, but all she saw was sincerity. She had spent years being invisible, but now she was seen. Mary turned to Trump, who watched her with that same unreadable expression. "Thank you," she said, her voice steady, "for not walking past me." He gave a small nod, as if acknowledging something unspoken. "You earned this," he said. "Now take it." With a deep breath, Mary stood. She tucked the folder under her arm, feeling its weight. Asterisk, asterisk, a different kind of weight, asterisk, asterisk, one that didn't drag her down, but instead lifted her up. As she and James stepped toward the door, the cameras outside buzzed with anticipation. Reporters shouted questions. People whispered. But this time, Mary wasn't afraid of being seen. She walked forward, past the crowd, past the flashing lights. For the first time in years, she wasn't just surviving. She was asterisk, asterisk, moving forward, asterisk, asterisk. And as she stepped into the world again, she knew one thing for sure. Her story wasn't over. It was just beginning.